Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bikini in the Brain. I'm here with, of course, the lovely Ashley Kaltwasser.
Hi, everyone.
So we are in from a wild weekend this weekend. We have to tell everyone the wild weekend we had.
Yeah, a lot of last minute things.
Yeah, and this is cool. I think it's cool just to see behind the scenes of the bikini competitor coach life type of thing. But what did we do this weekend, Ashley?
We were state hopping all weekend. So we took a really early flight on Thursday morning for the Olympia battle. So that was in Phoenix, Arizona. We were there for a few hours only to depart for Pittsburgh, the complete opposite side of the country, just hours later. Got in super duper late due to delays and such. Woke up, did the road to the Olympia shoot at the NPC photo gym, and it was your first time.
Yes.
How was it at the NPC photo gym in Pittsburgh?
I wish I would have went earlier.
Yeah.
I wish I would have went earlier. Yeah. Because it was just cool to see, like, be part of the history and be everything there, and just really felt like the Olympia. You know, for me, I was always like, yeah, we do so many shows. I know what they need from you, kind of thing. So I've been like, if I go out there, it'll be nice to get some extra feedback. But we kind of know, because we've done 10 shows this year, whatever type of thing. So I hate going to the East Coast because of the time zones, and the flights from here just are never great. So I try to like minimize my trips out there and make sure that it's during the right shows, like a Masters Nationals or something like that. And so I was like, I really do want to go though. So I went, and it was just so nice. It's nice to see everyone. It's such like a family vibe too, with everyone there, with Etila and JM, just knowing them for so many years. And it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like CPC. Their gym's like our gym. Like, it's like everyone's there working. Yeah. It's all people we know. We're all friends. It's just like a cool vibe. And then getting the extra feedback from Bill and Etila and JM and all that too was just nice.
Yeah.
So it was just fun. It made it feel? Really lit my fire for the Olympia.
Yeah. It's very motivating.
Yeah, it really turns it on, right? It really like
it's getting real.
Yeah, this weekend was like the Olympia shoot, and then that I was like, wow, this is like, let's go. It's happening. It's super happening. So
it is.
I'm thinking about it like all day. Like, that's what I think about. Yeah. Do you? Are you there?
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're like a month out now, which we're 4.5 weeks out or something like that. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, how did it come this quickly? It's crazy, because I'm just like, seems like just yesterday I was like prepping for the Clash show, my first show of the year, the Clash Girl Power. And now it's like, oh my God, it's already Olympia time already. What? So yeah, things get crazy around this time. Everything gets hectic and busy. I try to really minimize like my activities outside of just working out and doing Olympia type stuff. I really try to limit that, because it can get overwhelming, because things start to just pile on, these commitments and things like that. So travel is going to be very limited until Olympia time, which I do have one trip planned, and that's to Legion Sports Fest, not to compete, but to do a seminar and just, check out the happenings. But luckily that's in and out in the same day. Hopefully no delays or anything like that. But yeah, it is here already. And one thing I do want to clarify is, so for those of you that don't know, the Olympia qualified athletes, some of them are invited to do the road to the Olympia. And it's basically, you go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you shoot and do interviews, and it's a good time. And they use that content to kind of promote the Olympia, and it gets everyone fired up, just like Adam over here. So
yeah, I'm super. Yeah, it got me really fired. What's funny is I ordered some shoes, and they're like just regular like Nike shoes, but I do the custom shoes for the color. So I like the color. It's like $20 more to get the right colors. And then they sent me an order, and I said, oh, this will get to you by like October or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, the Olympia is so close. The shoes won't even get here. Like, not that I wanted the shoes for the Olympia, but it's just like, it's so soon that now I'm ordering, like, you order something that's after that. You're like, wow. So it really hit me. I'm like, man, it is coming up even faster than we get these shit. Like, when you start ordering things and they're coming after, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, it's really here. 4.5 weeks. That'll be here before you know it.
I know. So we'll have to start doing more Olympia themed podcasts. I think you guys would like that. But yeah, my goodness, almost go time.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
And I got some pretty good feedback, I've got to say, from the thing is, yeah, they told me physique wise don't change anything. So just doing what you do in a whole year. So
that's the best. Yeah, they've never, at least going into Olympia without any critique on the physique at all has been, it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, they said, you've been doing it right all year. Just keep bringing that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild, you
Yeah,
know?
it's good to hear from the Olympia judges that I've been doing the right things,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that are the ones judging me on stage that day, and they're the most experienced. So I'm glad to hear that from them. Sometimes I get a little unsure hearing it from other judges, but the Olympia judges, they're legit, they know what's up. So I'm happy to hear all that. They were very, very pleased with my fuller looks this year, and they actually encouraged it. So that's something I was a little concerned about. So they's like, "No, we love it. Keep doing what you're doing."
That's awesome. Yeah, it definitely made it even more motivating.
Yeah.
Because when you have 6 weeks and they say, oh, you need more shoulders, you're like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, we've been trying to train you get your shoulders bigger for 10 years. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so when it's like that, it's like, okay, I just gotta bring the right condition. That's
Yes.
it. Bring right condition, right fullness. So anyway, with that, sometimes when you're getting ready for a show, you are going to second guess yourself because of all the pictures you see
Mhm.
online. And that's
Yes.
why today's is about social media.
Yes. So go ahead and pull it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're like, go ahead and pull it
Yeah.
up. I'm sorry. I have the thing pulled up here.
Yeah. So social media, they have many pros and cons, especially in our sport. I feel want to say like social media really started, well, Instagram anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, started taking off in about 2012.
Yep.
Which was kind of when I started to compete, but it wasn't like it is today. You would like post maybe once a week or so, but now it's like everyone's posting every day. You get to see a little preview of your favorite competitor and everything like that. So there are some helpful aspects to social media and some not so helpful aspects. So I think it's a good idea to kind of go over that, and we can talk through it.
Yeah. And in 2012, because it was a lot different too, a lot easier to like build a following too in
Yes.
2012, especially as a coach. Because it was like me and there was like 3 other coaches when I first got on. Because I got on like in 2011, 2012, something like that. And there was like no teams or anything like that. But yeah, just post your clients at 4:00 when everyone's on. Like that was like timing
Yeah.
back then. Like you had to hit the window, and I was like, oh yeah. So it changed my whole life because it went from just working at a gym to then being able to go in different states and then global, right? And just your reach just astronomically, increase, especially when you're one of the first guys on it, So
Mhm.
I'm really thankful for it, but also it did come with its bad too, right?
Yeah.
So, the more eyes on you, the more criticism are on you too,
And it is, it can also be very time consuming as well. You can find yourself like scrolling for 5 minutes and it turns into 2 hours. And I know a lot of people monitor their screen time. I don't think I spend that much time on it these days. I used to spend a lot more. Now I'm just kind of like sometimes it's a bit daunting. So I just, limit it a little more. But a lot of people find that it's hard to not spend a lot of time on there. And I know especially now because there's so many different podcasts. That's one of them. Social media platforms that you can kind of get carried away with it. And we're on a podcast platform right now. Whether you're listening to us on YouTube or Podbean or iTunes or Spotify or whatever the case may be, we're blessing many ears
Yes.
through the microphone. But in our sport, I do feel like some platforms thrive a little more than others. I would say like for us, in our industry, probably Instagram's the most popular and YouTube. I would say, but there's no way to kind of prove that, of course. But do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel that there's 2 different. I think that Instagram and YouTube are probably the 2 biggest ones that are necessary. Instagram's becoming a little bit difficult for us,
Yes.
because like for me, I used to be really always pushing Instagram every day. I do a picture. I was like always my thing. Okay, 1 picture a day every single day. But then because of the pictures I post, the girls in bikinis, they labeled it as like strong sexual content or whatever they
Yeah.
called it. Even when they review it, and I've gone through with all the Instagram, like I've messaged them like, hey, look at my pictures. They're not sexual in any way. But they put it on a what's called shadow ban.
Yeah.
So like you physically have to type in Team Elite Physique all the way to the last E
Yeah.
to have me pull up. So I don't pull up organically. I'll never be in the search or anything like that anymore because of bikinis. And there's no way to fix that. Even when it was just like, I was like, okay, I'll just get rid of all the back shots, that'll be fine. And even that, just the front shots still get it. So like, unless I'm just posting everyone in workout clothes, so it became a little bit more difficult for coaches per se to do that. So now that's so it's dying a little bit for them, for photographers that do fitness stuff. And even and so that is like a quick scroll. You'll get people on that when people see you, but it's quick scroll. People are very short on that. 2 seconds, they scroll you up. But YouTube is cool because you get a lot less people on YouTube. I think it's like around 10%, I would say, of people like your following would be on YouTube. But the people on YouTube, they like know you, they invest time with you.
Yes, I do feel like that's the thing because they're there to watch the full 20-minute video, so they feel like they know you a lot more. And I would even say, like, even with this podcast, it being around an hour an episode, I get a lot more people being like, "Oh, I follow your podcast and I follow you on Instagram." I think it tells a much deeper story when you're able to kind of connect with people rather than just throwing up a picture with a cute little caption and an emoji, right? You can really get to know someone through podcasts and YouTube just due to the length of it in general. And people are there for it. They feel like they know you a lot more than just that one photo you threw up, on Instagram. So, I think by the way, our podcast may be one of the first fitness podcasts going strong since 2018. Okay. 2018, almost every Monday here talking to you guys, almost every Monday.
Yeah,
there's some exceptions.
I think we were the first bikini podcast, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
2018 going strong.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy. The time has really flown.
Yeah.
That was just an idea. And that's the thing about you and I both were like the same like that. If it was an idea that makes sense, we just do it right away. Like you just jump into it. Like that was an idea like on a Friday or like a Friday the week before. And it was like the next Friday we were shooting. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I'm happy we got to do it, honestly, because it was your idea. I was very down for it. And it just seems like you can really reach a lot of people. Like even when I was in Japan, I had girls coming up to me saying they listen to the podcast. And it's so surprising to find out who listens to the podcast, like people you wouldn't even expect, like big burly men, what I mean, listen to our bikini podcast. It's like such a cool thing. But what also I like about the podcast too is that like we can catch up on talk, because it's not like we talk for an hour every single week. So we get to catch up on things and, just kind of connect with you guys even more so than we would on Instagram. So I'm very thankful for that. And it's nice to always have like a consistent social media platform, because I'm not as consistent as I used to be on Instagram. And YouTube, I need to be so much better with. I don't think I've posted in a while. I used to post all the time, but I do need to be better with that. That's something I've been slacking on. And to be honest, the other very popular social media platform is TikTok. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan so much. Not a fan. They are even more strict than Instagram, it seems like. I remember posting like videos where my abs were showing and it got like deleted because of nudity. And I'm just like, come on, am I supposed to wear a snowsuit now to do my lifts? Or, so they're very weird about that too. So TikTok, not a fan. I've posted on there before, but not very consistent with it. And until that issue gets fixed and they're a little more lenient with things, it kind of does seem pointless sometimes to, post something only for it to get deleted just because it's like nudity. And it's like we're not going to be wearing full length suits all the time. Sorry guys. Like look at my abs, but you can't because I'm wearing a full length suit. Okay.
Yeah. It's
ab workouts.
Same thing with me with TikTok. I just never really understood it. That's all. I think that there's probably people out there like doing really well with it, in their genre. For sure. I think like a lot of dance fitness people do really well, because I know like a couple of Zumba fit people who will do well on that, and they'll post like mini workouts and mini things, and then full workout here at YouTube. But it's a sourcing one. It seems like they'll do a clip, source it to YouTube, that type of thing, and then sell stuff or whatever on YouTube type of thing. So
I mean, maybe it's gotten better with how strict they are. And I know some of my video stuff will remain, but some of them will get deleted just because of a stupid thing like your abs are showing or something. So it can be frustrating, but if it gets you motivated, it gets you motivated, whatever your platform is. I think there is some things we should kind of bring up about all the platforms here. And let's start with the pros of social media when it comes to our sport.
Yeah. And the first one would be basically, building your personal brand.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that. And here's the thing. You don't have to be a super successful competitor to get an awesome sponsorship if your social media is on point. We see athletes that are, maybe just average athletes, but their social media be popping and they get some really good sponsorships, because if you think about it, brands want the exposure. Who has exposure? People with a lot of eyes on them, a lot of social media followers. So that is one way you can kind of make it in this industry without being a super successful competitor.
Yeah, and you see that translate to other other industries too. And I've never seen it translate so much and so visually, except for in boxing, which was really cool because you could have. This is what's really wild about that is that you can have an average boxer, like an average guy. Maybe he's a little above average, but he has a huge social media following, and he's selling bigger fights than like top guys in the world because they have like I've seen some of these top guys in the world have like 5,000 followers. I'm like, dude, you're like 27-0, worked your whole life, but they don't spend any time on social media, which reminds me of some competitors too. And I'm like, you guys, you have to do that because I see some competitors like, oh, I'm not going to reveal anything, not going to reveal anything to the show. I'm not going to show anything to the show. And I'm like, cool, but you don't understand. You're not going to make a living off of your prize money at social. Like maybe if you win the Olympia only and like that's enough to live off of. But I mean, who's winning that? One guy a year, it's 400 grand. Like, it's the other things that get the eyes. And so I never saw it being so blatant. I'm like, oh, that does translate to our sport because it's the same type of thing. You have a guy with no championships, no titles, and he'll make $10 million a night because he's got a huge following.
Right.
And I'm like, how did he do it? But the guy who's number one in the world not doing it because he's not as popular. It's just popularity, right? Who's going to buy your stuff? And I think that people forget that. I want everyone to be the best they can as an athlete, but I also want them to make a living while they're doing it. You're putting a lot of effort in this.
Exactly.
You're putting a lot of work into it, a lot of time into it. Like if like, let's say Ashley just never worked on her social media, didn't have any brand deals, like all her money would just be show wins. Yeah. Right. And then she'd have to be having to pay for her own flights and hotels and all that. And that would really cut into those profits. Yeah. It'd be good money. It wouldn't be bad money. It just wouldn't be like lifelong money. It'd be like yearly money. It'd be like, okay, I'm going to make it this year. I'll pay my probably apartment and that's about it, type of thing. So it's, when we're talking building this, you have to look at, okay, what do you want to, what do you want it to say about you? And do you want to make a living off it? Or are you really just, are you a purist and you just want to be that boxer who wins and it doesn't matter how many tickets you sell,
Yeah. So. I used to be a lot more, I guess, into the social media world. And now I'm just like, sometimes I get so focused with competing. I'm just like, I just want to focus on competing. So I go through like my phases where I feel like being talkative on social media. And then in times I just want to focus strictly on competing and it feels like a distraction sometimes, but I do need to be better with it. That's for sure. Cause it is kind of cool to even just document your whole experience because these epic trips and stuff that I go on, I'm just like, I want to like remember it for the future. Like, oh man, remember when I went to Japan and had a good time and I went exploring, it's kind of like an online diary or a journal, if you will. So if you look at it like that, it's like sometimes you don't want to let these cool moments pass you by. Another thing to note is not even just sponsorships, but building a brand altogether, or even maybe if you're wanting to be a coach yourself one day, that's definitely going to come into play. And maybe there's a product you want to sell or a brand that you want to create. But regardless, you're going to have to, be diligent with your social media for those things to happen. If you're an up and coming, coach, how are people going to find you? Most people, I would say, go to the social media like Instagram first before they start looking up websites and such. I know I do. Like even when I go to like a hair salon, I'll look up the Instagram of the hair salon just to see what kind of work they do first before I look at their website. So I think things have changed, in the past decade, and it is very social media heavy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I agree with you on the living diary type of thing too. A lot of times, like on mine, I'll post a vlog, coach vlog every once in a while. And I really don't do that. I never get paid on those because there's always music in the background at shows and it's always copyrighted and everything like that. But I really just do that for me. It's not for like, sometimes you'll get people that like it too. That's probably like my lowest traction stuff. But for me, it's like, it's awesome. And then my mom can watch it too. She sees what I'm doing. Like my sister watches it too. So they see my life too. And I'm like, hey, this is what I'm up to right now, and it's kind of cool. And hopefully I live a long life and I can go back one day and search up my coaching vlogs. And though they're my lowest hits, I do get the people who watch like the YouTube and stuff. They will come out and some of them will follow it too, which is really cool when they follow that. Oh, I remember that time you were here or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah. And sometimes I even forget about it. Remember that time you were at that gym, whatever. And I'm like, no, I kind of don't. It's like, yeah, you were there with whoever. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I worked out there, and whatever. They'll tell me the story, and it's like
Yeah.
so cool. It's so cool to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another positive of social media in our industry is motivation and accountability, especially for those competitors that are maybe living in an area where they don't have seminars every weekend. There may be like one show every year. So they're kind of out of the loop, if you will, when it comes to our industry. And I do think that a great way to connect us all is on social media itself. You can get some good motivation from there, and also accountability. I know a lot of competitors will like post their, hey, this is my weekly check-in, this is my weight, my measurements, and they hold themselves accountable. And that, if that works for you, then that can be a positive.
Yeah, that's a new thing. That's really
Yeah.
cool. People are doing that. Yeah, posting there's a couple people who are doing it 365, like not, I guess I shouldn't say 365. They're doing it 52 weeks, like once a week for 52
Yeah.
weeks, like posting their transformation to keep them accountable in the off season and in the in season, which,
Yeah.
hey, I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty ballsy.
Yeah,
It's
it
pretty ballsy to
is.
be like, hey, like, cause you can't mess up when, however many thousands of people are watching you and you're like,
Right.
I'm blowing up, I'm gaining a bunch of weight, I can't stick, like they'll keep you on track. I think that is a way of
Yes.
keeping yourself. That's pretty ballsy to do that.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple people do it in the other way too, where I really like it when I see someone on social media killing it, especially someone who's really overweight. I love it. I don't know what it is. Like when I see someone who's really heavy in the gym and they're just getting started too, I'm like, I love seeing it. I'm like, get it, it is something about it is just like, it's a very positive thing for me. But on the social media, I'll see them posting their transformations and them killing it. And they still have, 100, 200 pounds to go, but they're posting it every day, posting their workouts, and you're seeing it. I think that's so motivating to other people who want to lose weight, who might be intimidated of a gym. You get some of these girls who are maybe just not super familiar with the gym, but they're 120 pounds, a little bit skinny fat, right? And they're afraid of people are going to look at them in the gym. And I'm like, well, you see this guy who's 200 pounds overweight working out in the gym, and everyone's supporting him, then you feel a little bit more comfortable too.
Absolutely.
So it's a good motivator for those people, or people who are a little overweight, who are afraid of everyone's going to look at them in the gym. And that was funny thing is, I would have, because I worked in the gym so much, when people would be like, I'm just afraid everyone's going to look at me. I'm like, do you see these bodybuilders? They don't see anything but themselves.
Yeah.
If they're looking at anyone, it's themselves in the mirror, not you. Don't even
Yeah.
worry about it.
That's true. That's very true. Another benefit to social media would be just access to knowledge and resources, free information on posing, training routines, nutrition, connection to coaches, experts, and other athletes. And I can't tell you how many times that I hear that somebody has learned something from our podcast or anything we posted. That is an awesome feeling to be like, you know what? Hey, somebody got something out of this. It's not just for entertainment purposes, it's for knowledge as well. And if you think about it, like this is how people usually find coaches online too. It's just like from transformation photos, they, get to network and connect with them. And we have access to, I guess you would say, high level people just with picking up our phone, which it wasn't a thing of the past, so that's pretty cool in itself. But it's a great way to find information, especially if you're new to this, and it kind of cuts down the time of research and can be part of the research as well. But it's a great way just to learn and to pick up little tips and little tricks here and there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons you've seen such these huge evolutions in the sports too. When I was first starting, it was literally magazines and books. Like
I was in the era of forums too.
Oh yeah, were you
like
there? Like
bodybuilding.com
Yep,
forums,
I was there too. Yeah, and that was it. You'd learn from those, and that's how we learned. Now it's, if I have a question about something, I'll go to YouTube and type in that, and I'll be like 10 experts like on exactly what I'm looking for. I'm like, okay, I'll do this, and I'll watch that, and then that'll lead me into a study that they had, and then I'll go and find that study, which sometimes it's linked, and it's like instant. It's like, oh, I want to learn about papaya today. Like, what's the benefit of papaya for the digestion, right? Boom, 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 100 things. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, now I'm more knowledgeable about it now. And then, I talk about it on here or whatever, and then someone else learns it from there, right? So it's the learning curve of becoming an expert. If you want to be an expert, if you really want to try, it's probably a couple years now of like really studying. It's a lot faster than it would be before. Before it was like a decade of like trying to get information. Now it might, I mean, man, if you're really dedicated, it could be even like a year if you like really, really studying it. So yeah, I learned stuff. I try to watch and learn one video every check-in day. That's what I try to do. Cause I do my check-ins I do video response check-ins. And so I try to have something playing in the background, like in between when I'm emailing and stuff. And then try to like research something every day and then kind of go into it and really learn about one thing really well every week is what I try to.
So cool.
Yeah, because the problem is it'll pass you if you don't. The one thing about and this is I don't know if we'll talk about this, but staying relevant is part of social media.
Yeah.
And staying relevant as a coach is another thing too. And that's what I was talking to another coach this weekend actually, and I was like, hey, look, there's going to be very few Tom Cruises out there that are coaches, right? And I use that as a reference because like everyone knows Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise can take 5 years off of acting. He can come back, get whatever job he wants. Like he's just that famous, popular, right? Very few guys. There's a lot of Vin Diesels though, right? Where you're hot for a little while, right? You did a couple Fast and Furiouses. You're pretty popular. You're pretty known. And then, you disappear and everyone's like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about him, right?
Yeah.
And so, but no one forgets about Tom Cruise, but there's very few Tom Cruises in the coaching world, many Vin Diesels. So when you're that Vin Diesel timeline and spotlight, you maximize it and make sure you keep pumping. For me, I'm not a Tom Cruise yet. So I'm trying to always stay relevant and learn new things and make sure my skills are on point still. So I can, one day hopefully be the Tom Cruise guy and chill a little bit and stay relevant just because I am who I am. But that is like not for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So I'm realistic. I'm super realistic.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. There's very few of those guys out there. So when you're a coach, social media, staying relevant is part of it. And staying on top of your skills is definitely going to be the best way to get clients is going to be to staying on top of your skills. That's going to be the best because you're staying current, your clients are doing well. Does it for you. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. So I think it's important now to talk about the cons of social media because there are quite a bit, and some may argue there's more cons than pros. And some people think, social media is a necessary evil, but if that is the case, there is, ways to make the most of it and make the best of it. So I think the biggest con of social media would be the pressure, to maintain an ideal image or, looking at other competitors and trying to compare as well. But I think a lot of, especially like up and coming athletes, feel this intense pressure just to always just post the good things, only the best things, make sure every photo is pristine and crisp. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really feel that pressure. Maybe I did in the beginning. I honestly cannot remember, but I am a little more like, nah, I'll throw up this picture, whatever. Whereas maybe in the past I was a little more particular about things. But I think even then, it's safe to say we're posting what we think is our best. We're not going to post the worst photo of us ever unless it's something funny, like that picture I posted on the story last week of us blinking while taking the photo. But I think a lot of people do struggle with that, of just overthinking their posting, and it can become stressful and daunting for some.
Yeah, I would say I did that a lot too originally, especially when it was posting a client, and I wanted to make sure, that if it was a transformation, I was like, I want to make sure it's good enough. I want to make sure it's a good enough one, but it doesn't matter. It's like someone's story either way. Someone's happy and proud of that. And so, yeah, you think that's how I used to. Now I think I also felt the pressures too of just always putting out like the best thing or only a win or whatever. And I'm like, anyone who's, placing is a good thing. They have a story behind it. So yeah, I would say I'm just a little lazier than I used to be more than anything. I think some of it is like me being frustrated with like the reach being just so dwindled down. Like my reach got like cut in like to like a third.
Oh yeah, mine is too. So I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. Cause I'm like black, what do they call black? Shadow ban, blacklisted shadow ban. So like, yeah. So I was like, like sometimes I'm posting and I'm like, it's not going to reach anyone anyway, like type of thing. But I still do. So now I'm just posting things that I like more.
Yeah.
But I will say at first the pressures of was it enough was kind of the thing.
Yes.
Like, does this look good enough, or is it as a coach, or be like, or is it like people think, oh, that's all you can do, and because maybe it was a transformation that still had 15 pounds more to go, or someone who didn't win. And I was like, oh, people are thinking, oh, that's all you can do is get a fifth, like to me. But I stopped caring about that a long time ago.
Yes.
I just don't care. You know what? I've realized that social media is not real life. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
No
like,
one would ever say that to you in real life and walk up to you and tell you these things. No.
yeah. So I just stopped caring. Like I used to put a lot into it and care a lot more about the online appearance. And then one day, you know, it's been so many years I've been doing it now. It's been like 12 years since I've been doing social media.
Mhm.
So now I'm like, it's not real life. Like the only real thing in life is like the relationship, like the real relationship, the people I
Yes.
physically see. Because those people, I don't see them. You know, I don't really. So
Yeah.
I think for me, it was like, just don't care so much because it's not real life. I think people think that that's them living in like their real life. And I'm like, it's just your online presence. It's fine. You can turn that off one day, be perfectly fine. Like, but, you know,
Absolutely.
probably be healthier for a lot of people to do that. So for me, I just stopped caring, and I'm putting out more stuff that's more like how I do. It's like before I wouldn't put out a coach vlog because it's not very entertaining. It's not very engaging. It's not, the cuts aren't great. You know, it's not this great edited vlog. But I'm like, I don't care. It's for me. It's like my story, and it's for me and for me to look at in the future, for my mom to see it, whatever, you know? So I wouldn't do that before because I think the pressures of putting out something so good would kind of limit what I would put out. It's like, no,
Mhm.
it's not good enough to put out. It's not, you know?
Yeah.
So
And that's exactly the reason I think a lot of people feel that pressure is they're going to get judged. They're going to, oh, if I put out this picture, is it enough? Is it good enough? Is somebody going to say something about it? And of course, just like you said, internet isn't real life. So people feel extra bold sometimes behind the phone screen, right? And they will maybe uh, provide some unnecessary criticism or negative comments in general, and you will get those every once in a while. Just believe me, it'll happen. But it's also important to realize you're probably getting 99% positive, and then maybe that one negative comment that you can't get out of your mind. But yeah, people feel extra bold sometimes behind the screen, and just keep in mind that it happens. You do have to have a little bit of a thick skin for that, and if there's something that's irritating, you don't want to hear or be commented, there are ways you can go onto your account and block certain words from even hitting your account. So if anybody comments something you don't want, it'll never reach your profile. You'll never see it. So there's a ways to kind of protect yourself if you do feel like you're sensitive to that kind of stuff. But just know, regardless, it's going to happen. You're going to get criticism, maybe unwanted criticism. Keep in mind, the only person that's going to judge you is like the judges on show day, and God.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, so just keep that in mind. You got to have a little thick skin for that.
Yeah, it does take getting used to. That's for sure. It's funny. I was just telling Ashley this the other day. I was like, you're gonna have probably like 0.02% of people who don't like you, like what you're doing, like your attitude, like whatever, anything about you, right? So the more following, that percentage will stay about the same. The more you follow. So let's say, lovable Ashley over here has got 1 million followers, but if 0.02, right, don't like her, that's like 20, what is that, like 20,000, 2,000 people. That's a lot of people. And those are the loudest people, right? But it's very, very small amount. So for me, it's probably like, somewhere in the 400. That's still a lot. It's still a lot of people, right? So you got to remember, you can't please everyone. Someone's not going to like you. It is what it is. All I do, honestly, my social media, I'm a little bit arrogant, I guess I would say, with my social media. I provide useful information where I feel like if you follow it, you're going to learn something eventually from my social media.
Yes.
Some of it's just bodies, some of it's just, oh, hey, you may got second this weekend, whatever. Post her up. I got a poster. I was waiting for those pictures. Some of it's just that, right? Which is cool. That's I'm proud of it. I want to give her a shout out, and it's an advertising vehicle too. But some of it's, collaborating with Tori as opposing coach, collaborating with Tiana as opposing coach, collaborating with you on one of your podcast shorts or something like that. And people are learning from it. So for me, I'm like, hey, I'm giving you free, valuable information. If you followed everything I've done for the last 12 years and you learned from it, you'd probably be a pretty decent coach just from that alone at this point. So I think of it as, if you're going to leave anything negative, I'm taking that away from you.
Right.
And I don't care if it's the first time. I have people message me and they'll be like, hey, why did you block me? You earned it somehow. Like you earned it somehow. I will block you instantly. If you're first, especially if it's like if you're a friend and you're always commenting, it's always positive, and then one time it's negative, then I don't care. But if it's the first time I recognize you and it's negative, even a little bit, or it's about a client negative, and I'm like, I'm taking this away from you, and I'll take it, and I don't care, and it's not getting removed. So that's how I do it, because I want my social media to be positive. I feel like everything in life will translate to your joy in life. So
yes,
the one negative comment, we all know it and we all say, oh, don't focus on that one negative comment. It's easier said than done because you could have 1,000 nice comments and one negative one, and everyone, it's human nature. Everyone focuses on that one comment. So for me, it's like, I'm not going to let it affect even a minute of my life thinking about it. So I'm getting it out of my life entirely. So I'll block them, any accounts associated with it right away. Same thing with YouTube. So that way I just don't involve myself with any negative. And that's why, it's another reason too. I was on Reddit for a while with like trying to be its Coach Adam, like fully disclosed what my name was. I was a head coach Adam or something, Coach T, I forget what it was my name, but it was like there was so much negativity in there that I couldn't get away from. And I was like, dude, this negativity is like sucking me in.
Right.
And I just don't, it doesn't like everyone behind anonymous names just is more vile, you know? There's just like, there was nothing they would ever say on, like, even worse than on Instagram, right? It's like nothing they would say ever to someone's face or with under their real name. And I'm like, this place is so nasty. So I'm just out of here, you know? Yeah. And I was trying to like create a community where it would be like, okay, more positive for everyone and answer questions behind anonymity. I thought it would be a positive thing that answer questions behind anonymity. Maybe someone's afraid to ask a question, afraid to have that type of engagement. And I was like, it could be a great thing, but it also, it enforced like, hey, I can say whatever I want behind a hidden name. So I was like, yeah, I'm out of here, dude. It's just too much. So I tried it. And so it's not for me. But yeah, but that's another source people go to too. And you know, just be careful with that one too.
Yeah, I think there's no shame in just protecting your happiness. So even if it is that one person that comments something nasty once, but you know, block, sure, why not? Protect your happiness. That's what's most important. You know, it's that's all you can do. And it's the most important thing for you just to maintain your sanity, your happiness, and keep pushing through, because some people do handle it worse than others. And some people it really brings them down. So if you know that's you, then don't play games. Just do the quick block, and that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah,
move on with your life. Yeah.
I do block a couple other things too on social media, which it limits my growth because I block a lot of people. I have like thousands blocked because I also block. Well, I block any negative comments. I block on Instagram anonymous accounts that are weird because of the protection of the girls.
Yes.
And then any creeper guys.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it's crazy. Because I block so much of that, my account's like 90% women, which is crazy account for like my Instagram, because I don't care about my following. It's not real life. I don't care what the number says, you know? So I'm not like someone who's out there trying to get up to 1 million followers. But it would be cool if they're all real million bikini competitors type of followers, like actual competitors that followed my stuff. It'd be cool. But if I have anyone follow, I hope they're an active bikini competitor, because that's my main thing that I go after, or after transformation person, someone trying to do something. But I also post a lot of girls, and I'll post their handle in it. And unfortunately, I will say to you girls, some of you are a little bit, take a little bit of risks, where when you're posting the gym that you're at and the time that you're working out, that worries me when I see girls doing that all the time, because people post that in their stories all the time, and they'll be like, tag their gym. Obviously it's at 6:00. You're a pretty girl, you know? So for me, I'm like, I'm blocking any of my creepers because I don't want them getting access to you through me, at least, you know? So that's why I kind of block them too. But so for you girls out there, be a little careful, at least the time and place that you're at. You know, there's, you know, not everyone in this world is a good person. So I do, that's why I block those guys too. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I think another negative to social media is the spreading of like misinformation, or even, I guess, comparing your diet to someone else's, or the way they train. But you know, I think we talked about it a few podcasts ago, like when you see someone, like, because I get asked all the time what my macros are at, and you know, I'm happy to share, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, well, why do you want to know? What I'm doing is not going to apply to you. We're all different. We all handle different calories. Our resting caloric burn is going to be different. Our goals are different. Our experience is going to be different. So what I'm doing in the gym is not going to translate to you. What I'm doing in the kitchen is not going to translate to you precisely. Can you get little tidbits here and there of like little diet hacks or training tips? Yeah, of course. But I promise you, if you do my same routines, you're not going to look like me. And if I do your routine, I'm not going to look like you. Everything is so customized, and we shouldn't look at one competitor and be like, oh, that's what I should be doing because she posted about that and she's successful. Like, oh, you'll see like a competitor saying like, oh, I just came off the show a month ago. I'm at 4,000 calories now. And, you know, and it's like, you try doing that, you're probably not going to get those results. We're all different. It doesn't necessarily translate to you. So just be cautious of that, because I feel like a lot of people want to try to emulate their favorite athlete, and you can, like I said, you can get little tips here and there from them, but I wouldn't suggest doing everything exactly precisely the same, which is kind of like the whole like the macro thing that I was on about a few podcasts ago. It's just like you can say you're eating this amount of calories, and a lot of girls will want to try to be like you. So you got to be careful with that stuff too. Sometimes, like I remember in the past when I was doing like what I eat in a day videos on YouTube, I do remember giving a disclaimer like, this is what I'm eating in this current moment right now for this show. It's different all the time, and it's not going to work for you like it does for me, and vice versa. We're all different. Because even for me, when I'm posting like what I eat in a day or my training schedule, that's in this moment. That's not going to apply in a month. Maybe things are different because things are always changing. My cardio always changes. My macros are always changing. Just because I'm eating what I'm eating now doesn't mean that's what it's going to be like at 2 weeks out from the Olympia. It's going to change. So just be careful with that, guys. It's just not. It's not. It's better just to consult with your coach rather than trying to do monkey see, monkey do kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know what? And a good example of that. So this weekend we went to the versus battle of the Olympia, and you have there, 3 of the best Olympians, probably 3 of the top 5, I hope, that were there over the weekend, and they had to come up with a workout. They were like, okay, we're going to do a workout. So 2 of them couldn't work quads. 1 wanted to work quads. 1 couldn't work shoulders. The other 2 could work shoulders. 1 couldn't work glutes. 2 could work glutes. Yeah. So like just 3, like putting something together that actually worked was even difficult for those 3. So if you're listening to all 3 of those and you're doing their workouts, like they're literally wouldn't work for anyone but them, because like it's specific to them. Like, yeah, it's like 2 of you. It doesn't make sense for someone to not work shoulders for most people, but for that athlete, it made sense. Someone for not work quads, it doesn't make sense for 80% of people. For those 2 of them, it worked, right? So it was like, it just shows you how different everything is just between athlete to athlete. So definitely
and different weights as well.
Oh yeah, significantly
lighter versus heavier, and
yeah. And that's the thing, when you get as a coach too, sometimes I'll get that question, how much weight should I lift? And I'm like, it's so relative.
It's so relative. Like 5 pounds to me might be heavy, but might be easy to add them, or vice versa. It's all relative. Even like on a day-to-day basis, sometimes I wouldn't be able to lift a certain amount of weight, but another day I feel stronger. So it's about challenging yourself, not necessarily about mimicking a weight, and especially like, because you see on Instagram, girls be doing like a lot of ego lifting sometimes, and they're doing it for the video, and they're doing their max, and it's like, for us, we're not really, there's no benefit of doing like a max rep or anything like that. Maybe just for the fun of it, but it's not the way they're building their muscles most of the time. Sometimes it is just a performance.
Yeah. What do they call that? PR or ER?
Oh, I've never heard of that. Did you do that?
No, was that
I bumped it with my foot. Wow.
What the timing on that?
Oh, wow.
Actually, that was a good job, podcaster.
I thought you did it.
It's like a live audience.
Oh my God, I thought you did it. I'm just
sitting. The odds of that are 1 in 8. You hit the right one.
Oh my God, I hit it with my foot, guys.
That's so good.
I forgot we had a
That's
soundboard.
so weird. That was like perfect timing. What are the odds of that?
Dang.
Okay. Well, you're our new producer here. Well, Ashley's always been the producer. That joke really was fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We have a whole room laughing.
That's funny. You know what I say when it's the weights are feeling really heavy? I'll be like, man, the weights are heavy today. Must be something lunar, something gravitational, some gravitational force or something. That's great.
And another thing to just be wary of is in this industry is, a lot of people do the Photoshop, and when you see a progress pic, you can kind of get in your head like, oh my God, maybe they edited it. Maybe it was a perfect lighting, perfect angle. You can look so different in one lighting in one picture, and then next picture you're under the good lighting and you look totally different. And you know that because you do a lot of check-ins with hotel rooms. Even when I was in Japan, I was like, I look better than this picture, I promise. Yeah. And then the next picture in a different setting, it was like, oh yeah, that was it. So just keep in mind, things can be manipulated, or they're only giving you your best. Of course, someone's going to post their worst progress pic with their gut hanging out. You know what I mean? So just keep in mind that if you're comparing yourself to a certain person, that they're giving you their best, or maybe an edited version of their best, depending. And we should never compare against other people. Compare to yourself, of course, but there's so many factors that can dictate how a piece of content looks.
Yeah. And I've ran into that too, where just where you can't tell pictures are edited. Cause I'm not the guy that's like going through each
Right,
picture and
right.
checking. I reposted one that was edited, and I'm friends with Goo, but he called me. He's like, "Hey, bro, just so you know." And I was like, "Oh crap!" I took it off real quick. I was like, "I didn't know." He's like, "Dude, look at the tiles in the background." I was like, "Dude, it was so bad." It was funny as I called her out on it too. And then the girl was like, "Oh, that's great that people are saying." What did she say? So, "Oh, it's great that people are looking so good. People are saying it." I was like, "Okay." My tiles were all crazy edited by him. I posted after that. I was like, "Hey, if you guys are editing pictures and tag me, like, don't tag me in them because I don't look. I don't want to be
Yeah.
that guy that accidentally reposts them, you know."
Yeah.
So if it's fooling me, it's fooling a lot of people. So make
Yeah.
sure that you're being extra cautious with that. I had a few people with that issue where they were looking at people's pictures that were like highly edited and they didn't realize they're highly
Mhm.
edited. And like, I'm competing against this girl. And I'm like, that girl doesn't look like that girl. Like,
Yeah.
she will not look like that on stage. Do
Yeah.
not worry. Yeah. That
Oh,
is the
yeah.
perfect goon lighting, perfect angle, like everything set up perfectly, you know. So
Mhm.
don't worry.
Absolutely. It doesn't translate to the stage like that all the time, you know? So just get it out of your head.
So what else we got here on
I
the
think
anything
it's
else?
I think it's kind of important to navigate or instruct people how to navigate around this if you're feeling like it's kind of becoming a negative thing in your life. And I think managing screen time is a good option. Just being aware of how much time you're picking up that phone and looking and scrolling and what kind of content you're scrolling through, right? What accounts are you following? What's in your algorithm that's making you feel this way? Because if it's somebody that's always posting something that's pissing you off all the time, maybe it's best to unfollow. Or if they're just you feel a certain way with their content, just press the unfollow button. There's no biggie in that. And just like I said previously, be protective of your happiness, whatever it takes to get you to that point. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think that's like the best point of all this, right? Make sure you're following the right people that are influencing you the right way. I'm a big believer, and that's why I won't do anything negative. I think it just builds in you, and it's like just seed planting, and it grows in you for the day. Maybe it's just a day, but I don't want to. Why would I want to have any negative anything for the day? If I can avoid it, if I have the option, I will not do it. Obviously, I'm going to run into it, but if I have the option to just block, move on, and never have to deal with that in the future, then I'm going to do that. And so, same thing with you. If someone's influencing you the wrong way, maybe there's an athlete that you follow that you love as an athlete, but the way that they live their life isn't something that you want to mimic, and you're just constantly seeing that. Well, then maybe unfollow them too. And it's, so you're not giving into the pressures of like, oh, well, that's how this girl does it. That's how this girl does it. So, make sure that you're giving yourself something healthy to eat every day on social media, just like with our foods, right?
Yes.
You eat something healthy, you're going to be healthy. You watch something healthy, you're going to be healthy. So just be sure you're watching the right things that bring joy and no frustration to you, no negativity to you. At least that's how I think it's best. I try to set up everything in my life where it's the most positive it can be though. So I'm very big into that.
Yes, absolutely. These little things throughout the day, I think sometimes people don't realize they can affect your overall mood. Like, you see something that makes you angry, and then you see something that is annoying, and these little things accumulate, and then you spend extra time at the red light. Little things like that, they all accumulate and kind of put you in a certain mood. And if some of that is social media related, just be cautious and aware of that.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's the best part right there. I think everyone should go through after this, if you watched it all the way through, thank you guys for watching all the way through. Go through a social media clean out and if you're on board with it, and clean out all the things that are bringing negativity to your life that aren't bringing any joy. So I'll do that. I'll make sure I get that, just in case there are any that I'm still not. Go through and be like, all right, you're not bringing any positive to me in terms of what I'm following. I want laughs because I like laughs, dogs, cats, fitness. Well, boxing is there too. That's the good stuff for me. So, what are your other ones? Your cats?
I have my algorithms taken over by cats now. So, little update, guys. I got 2 cats. I knew this was going to happen. I'm going to start collecting them. I got 2 cats now. I'm like a full-on cat mom, coming in with, like, even my hat got little cat hairs all over it. You see that? Little fuzzies. I'm like full on cat mom, buying like all the cool toys. I just got my kitties a nice big huge like 6-foot cat tree yesterday. They love it. So anyway, all that to say is my algorithm is cats and fitness right now.
Something about pets, something about them, right? I'm glad that you got it. Even your house is set up for cat. Ashley has these like she has these what is it you call it? Where you put it on the wall and they like have their own.
Oh, like little steps so they can climb on our walls and stuff. Yeah.
Your
They
cats,
like heights. So
yeah, her cats have like a Disneyland. So you have like the perfect cat house.
Oh, I'm gonna add more to it. Good thing there is no like theme in my house, like decoration wise, because my theme is gonna be cats, like cat happiness.
My house is all set up for I can't even believe how much like extra I spent just to have the dog, like the big doggy door and the artificial turf and blocking off the pool for her. Like I'm in thousands for this dog, like thousands for just so it could be fun and perfect for her and safe. And it's like we do so much, for these little pets. But they bring a lot of, but the thing is they bring us joy.
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? The joy is like the amount of value that brings is so much, So you go to my backyard and it's like we just redid the whole backyard and it's all beautiful. And then all you see is pink tennis balls everywhere because I have 40 tennis balls because for some reason my dog will run and catch them but not always bring them back. So then I have to throw another one to get her to exercise, right? And so there's tennis balls everywhere and then dog toys everywhere. It's like there's no point of it being nice. So anyway,
if you like this video, make sure to give a thumbs up, just like this statue that Adam got. To give a thumbs up if you like the video.
It's our like reminder.
It's a good reminder there.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time.